Okay, so shall we start?
Let's start. Yeah.
I'll just introduce myself for a second, and then we'll get to it. I'm Inby. I'm a musician. One of the best decisions I ever made in my life, and I'm 38 years old, so there's been a lot of decisions made. One of the best ones was choosing to use Loopy Pro as my loop station around 3 or 4 years ago. And here's example number 820. I get to interview Michael Tyson, the developer, the mastermind behind Loopy Pro.
You're very kind.
Really, I'm super excited and happy, and I know a lot of Loopy Pro users are really excited and happy about this. So Michael Tyson from Australia is a one-man developing company entity, and you thought up Loopy Pro. You've been developing it all by yourself, and I just want to ask you as many questions as I can today. Okay?
Please do. I'm all yours.
Okay. So can we start by, can you just introduce yourself and your background? Like, I don't know, where did you grow up? What were your interests as a kid? What did you dream of being when you grew up? What was your favorite color? Whatever you want to share about young Michael.
I have trouble with favorite colors. That's why everything in Loopy Pro is black and white with a rainbow, because I can't decide. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. I mean, where shall I begin with that? So I grew up here, actually. We moved away. We lived in other places for a while, and then we returned, but they always come back, the hills people. So
So where is here?
Here is the Dandenong Ranges. It's about an hour east of Melbourne, in the southeast of Australia. And yeah, I really like it here. Yeah, Melbourne itself is there are parts of Melbourne that are really lovely, and there are lots of parts that are quite, like a big strip mall. And then the Dandenong Ranges is like this beautiful oasis within range of all the cool stuff, but without that, kind of built on the cheap kind of feel that so much of suburban Melbourne has. So it's a really nice place to be. And I was, pretty much doing what I do now since I was about 6, I think. I can't remember exactly what age, but
Really?
I had a friend who was a big Apple nut. Well, his family was a big Apple nut. He was my age, and we were little kids at the time. And he's the one that introduced me to, playing around with code and coding in BASIC, and,
When you were 6?
Something like that. Somewhere between 6 and 8. Yeah. Both my teachers are parents. Both my parents are teachers. And I was lucky enough that one of them had access to an Apple IIe at her school, and she was able to bring it home. And so that was where I started cutting my teeth on like programming in BASIC. And I loved it. It was just, it was I'm learning a lot about neurodiverse language, and I realized that was probably my special interest, and remains so. I was pretty kind of monotropic about it. I was very much focused on it. And
Wow.
And yeah, I had friends and stuff, but I spent a lot of time messing around programming. And
What were you programming? And how did you know how to program? Just from the
it was
internet?
just messing around. There was no internet. Yeah, no, it was just.
How old are you, Michael?
I'm 42.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've seen all this stuff happen, which is kind of exciting. I miss the punch card era, back in the very early days of programming. So I got in when it was a little bit easier than it was. But yeah, it was still, it was pretty low level, and it was just making random stuff. Like I realized I could draw horizontal lines in colors. So I would make patterns on the screen, and then, make little light shows, and really basic to begin with.
Wow.
Basic to begin with.
That doesn't sound basic to me.
Well, it's all relative, I suppose. But yeah, that was what I did for fun.
Wow.
I like making stuff. And yeah, like when I was in year 9, I built the a marking system for the school. That was my first paid gig. And
Wow.
I was always just messing around. I was a giant nerd. I still am, really. And I did other things. I played a bit of music. I learned the trombone. Yeah, trombone and like
nice.
jazz trombone was my start.
Nice.
And I took that up to, playing in a few uni things. There was a uni jazz band in an orchestra, which I did. And then it was just, I don't know why, I didn't like it anymore, so I stopped. But I picked up music again later, playing Irish music. We'll come to that. That was a COVID era skill, you know, you're all locked down and what we're going to do. So I picked up the fiddle. But yeah, it's
the
reinvigorated.
Fiddle, wait, I thought you play the concertina. Wait.
I do. Yeah.
Don't spare any details. I want to know about your full musical background.
Yeah. So basically, you know, we spent a little time in Ireland, but didn't get very exposed to the music scene there. But it was like a death of 1,000 cuts or something. Like, it was just enough stimulus, and then something pushed me over the edge, and then I'm like, I need to learn how to do this. And the fiddle seemed like a good place to start. So I got a fiddle and I learned how to play it, and I, you know, started going to sessions and had a blast. But this was after I was a parent, so there isn't a lot of free time when you're a parent and you're a indie software developer. And so I realized that, like, it was going to be a long time before I really started being good. And then along the way, I discovered the concertina. I don't know how I found it. Probably just, I mean, I listened to trad. That was all I listened to. And pretty much still true. And I must have just heard a few people playing them and just really liked the sound. And then I looked into it more, and I just had to get one. And it's a good thing too, because it's a lot easier to play the concertina well than it is to play the fiddle well. Not that I necessarily play the concertina well yet, but I try. But it's a lot, you can get a lot further with less time input, which is important in my life at the moment. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, with what I do with Loopy, it's it kind of evolved very naturally. I did a computer science degree, and in typical fashion, deferring decisions till as late as possible, I basically just went on to an honors degree and then a PhD. And it was while I was doing the PhD, while I should have been doing the PhD, I was drawn to start tinkering. I saw a video that Imogen Heap put on YouTube where she was live looping, which was the first time that I'd seen anything like that. I just thought it was really cool. And that was around the time that the App Store became a thing. You know, that Apple had released the iPhone. The very first version of the iPhone was locked down. You couldn't do anything. They invited developers to make apps, which were basically just websites. And that was all you could do. But then they opened it up. Then they had, you know, the ability for native apps that could do proper things like audio. And that was when I thought, this might be a good little first experiment just to see what you can do with it. And
just based on what you saw her doing.
Yeah. I mean, I just dived in, you know, I was just like, okay, so you record a bit of audio and you play it back. And yeah, I tend to be light on the prep. I just kind of dive in. That's my strategy generally, for better or worse. And so I just dived in and I started working on it. And that was the very first Loopy, which I released in, it must have been 2008, perhaps. That was a long time ago.
Loopy HD?
Just Loopy. That was just the very, very first one. And it looked a little bit different too. Yeah. And then I was overcome by guilt and then worked on my thesis a bit more.
Which was what? What did you study?
Oh God, I'm falling asleep just trying to remember. See if I can. Radio propagation environment awareness in suburban ad hoc networks. There you go. You're falling asleep yet? Basically, the idea was that the future is going to be not cell towers and, you know, because capacity is going to be harder. The future network in wireless communications is going to be phones talking to each other and creating mesh networks and routing traffic that way, which is all well and good if you're standing in a field together. But if you're in a city, you've got buildings that get in the way. And so, you know, solutions to that would be to make lots of different redundant connections so that if you walk that way and you suddenly have a building in the way of the person you're trying to talk to, you've got somewhere else that you can send to get to them. but it was quite expensive. And so the idea was you'd do an X-ray of the city basically by looking at, as this person is here and this person is here and they walk that way and the signal drops off, there's something in the middle. And so I would use all of those connections to make a picture, a map of the city. And then you would say, if they're walking that way, they'll probably keep on walking that way. And then you can predict when the signal's going to die and you do something to prepare for it. That was the idea. Which seems laughably obsolete now, but it was a very long time ago. But yeah, it wasn't interesting for very long.
And so can I ask, were you making money from coding ever since you were 9? Like, is that how you were, is that what you were doing on the side?
Probably not since I was 9, but during uni, I had a job, doing PHP programming and bits and pieces. Yeah. And then I was lucky enough to get a scholarship for the PhD. So I sort of didn't have to worry so much about that. Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, it's been crazy, my career, because I got a job with some friends. That was the web programming. And then I got another job with some other friends. And then I had the scholarship for the PhD. And then ever since then, it's, we lived really cheaply because we moved to Europe. We'll get to that. And then, this app stuff took off. So it's been a very unconventional career for me.
Yeah. Okay. So while you were doing your PhD is when you just got the idea to develop an app for the first time. So before that, were you working with computers, and was this the first time you thought about doing things for iPhones and iPads?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, before that, I was really, most of my professional experience had been doing web programming, which is very different.
Okay.
And then, in the computer science degree, they teach us how to program in C and all that stuff. And it was just a thing that I wanted to kind of try without really having much background in it. And
was it already a seed of like, I can do this and sell it, like a financial thing, or was it just,
oh no,
I'm curious, I'm challenging myself, I want to try?
Yeah, I was never expecting to actually earn money for it, and I didn't. With Loopy, I mean, I didn't even do any marketing. I didn't do anything. I just put it out there. And at the time, like this was in the first couple of years of the App Store, some people were actually making their fortune by doing exactly that because there was almost no one on it. And so if you were the first app to do something, all you had to do was upload it and then step 2, profit. But I wasn't expecting anything like that, and it didn't really happen. It made, I don't know, a few $100. It wasn't much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't until much later when I thought maybe I'll try and make a proper go of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I, that was while I was ostensibly writing my thesis. And to add insult to the injury, we ended up deciding to quit Australia entirely, and we bought a motorhome and lived in Europe. And we did that probably a few months before I would have finished the thesis. So, I got 98% of the way there, and then, and we took off.
So you don't have a PhD?
Nope.
You have 98% of a PhD?
I have 98% of a PhD. You could call me doctor, but you have to leave the R off.
Wow, okay.
It's I think it's got an acronym which is NBD, like, oh no, ABD, like all but dissertation. I can't remember what the acronym is, but there is an acronym for.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So
I'm not quite.
What made you decide to leave Australia and go to Europe?
We wanted to seek adventure, basically, and it was something that we'd been planning for a while. And we bought tickets, thinking, this is the time, and I'll probably be done by then. This is my wife, Catherine, and I.
Okay.
Yeah. And we both had very much itchy feet, and we put our heads together and realized the way to do it, because we still are very much homebodies. So how does a homebody travel the world? Well, they take their home with them. So we went and we found a motorhome, and that was our home for 3.5 years. And it was just the timing, I had planned to finish the PhD, and then I had planned to finish it when we were traveling and just, use that spare time. But it never happened. Yeah. I'm the classic college dropout.
Yeah. University
You've got to be
dropout.
a college dropout. Yeah. Yeah. So we left all that behind, much to the chagrin of my PhD supervisor, and bought this beautiful old Heimer motorhome and sprinted around Europe for a year, free camping everywhere, and it was so fun and it was so cheap. It was unbelievable.
What
And
years
then
was this?
we left in 2009.
Okay.
Yeah. And we traveled all over. We spent we probably went too fast at first, and we raced through some places that I would really have liked to spend more time in, like Ireland. I think we were only there for a month. And then raced down through France to meet some friends who were coming over from Australia. And so we, did that. And then we just slowed way down after that. And it was probably about a year into travel, Catherine and I both felt like we wanted to get creative and do some projects. So that was where we started really slowing down. And it was kind of the ability to, the motorhome wasn't cheap, but the actual day-to-day after that was unbelievably cheap. It was like living rent-free, basically. The campsites were so inexpensive, and food was cheap because Australia is a very expensive place to live.
Really?
And so it removed all of the financial pressures. So I didn't feel like I needed to get a job or anything. I could just make cool stuff.
So what cool stuff?
Well, the first thing I did was actually for our traveling. So, it was fairly early on as far as communications and things go. And so it would be quite difficult to get connected to stuff. And, the mobile plans that you would get might give you, I don't know, 500 megabytes a month or something. And it was quite challenging. And, and often we just wouldn't have anything. But we wanted to be able to, I wanted us to be able to have, the iPhone had GPS and stuff then. So I wanted to be able to create maps in advance of where, we'd go to, say, Rome, and we would research in advance, like, what are the cool things in Rome to do? And I wanted them on a map on my phone so that we could, see where we were and see where the cool things are, and without having to deal with the big tourist maps and stuff, And that's what I made. So I made a thing that hooks into Google. It was called My Maps at the time, but it was basically a database of places that you could create. And so it was an interface to that, and it also downloaded them offline, so you could have an offline map. So you could you do all your research, save all your place marks to Google Maps, and I made a cool interface for making that easier too on the Mac. And then you would grab your phone, and all your place marks would be on your phone offline, so you could just wander through wherever you are and get directions to, like, with a compass. And I made it really beautiful and skeuomorphic. It was like it was called the Cartographer, and it was like I had this beautiful parchment overlay on top of the map, and went all out making this feel like this sort of vintage kind of mapping system. It was really fun.
How long did that take to make?
Oh, I don't know. It was not that long. It was probably like the first stuff was probably maybe a few months. And then when I realized that it was actually really cool and I wanted to try and sell it, see what would happen, that took a few more months to refine it and make it beautiful. But it did pretty well. At the time, we were thinking that maybe our finances would start getting tight. And so I was thinking, I'll just see what happens, dip a toe in the water. And it did great. It was featured by Apple for months on end. They really liked it.
Seriously?
Yeah, it was good. And
what was the name?
It was called the Cartographer.
Okay.
I think there are still some. I made some promo videos. I think they might still be on YouTube. That was really fun too. I made them all like beautiful and wrote the music for it, and I had a good time. And it was after that was out, and I remembered this thing that I'd done years ago, this loopy thing, and thought maybe I'll give that another crack as well, because it was very rudimentary at first. There wasn't much to it.
Is it around? It's not around anymore in the App Store?
No, I removed it because it was just too hard to maintain. And something else that happened along the way was that very shortly after release, Google retired My Maps. So I built this whole thing around it, and then they killed it with no warning.
Why?
I mean, that's what they do. They build fast, they try things, and they're not afraid to kill their babies if they decide that it's not worth it. So yeah, I spent a lot of time. My solution was ridiculous, by the way. Basically what I did was they killed the API, so the thing that developers can use to interact with the data. They killed that, but they didn't kill the public interface. And so desperate to try to make this thing work, what I did was I made a screen scraper, which is where you write code that pretends to be a web browser and does things like click links. And I made a screen scraper that sits behind basically a clone of the API, so that the app would talk to my server and my server would talk to Google, pretending to be the user. It was such just an awful, dreadful hack. I mean, I was desperate, and that worked for a surprisingly large amount of time, actually. But that kept things afloat for long enough. That's kind of why I killed it off. It was a nightmare dealing with that situation. But yeah, that was my first jaunt into apps, which was both fun and horrendous. It left me wanting to do something else, basically. And I really enjoyed working on audio when I was doing the first Loopy. It's just fun. It's a fun, I don't know what it is about working with audio. It's an interesting challenge, and I wanted to take another crack at it. So at that point, we'd been all over. We'd been down through Italy, and then so as an Australian and probably many other nationalities, probably including Americans, visiting Europe, you get this thing called the Schengen visa. So you get 3 months in, and then you have to be out for 3 months. Yeah. If they catch you, you're in big trouble. So we were looking around. We were in Sicily at the time. We were like, where are we going to go that's not in the Schengen area that we can get to? And we realized we could go to Croatia, which would mean going up through Italy and then down again. Or Tunisia. We thought, North Africa could be really interesting. We know a bit of French, they speak French and Arabic there. And so we did it. We got a ferry over, and we spent 3 months in Tunisia, which was an education. It was probably not something I would like to repeat. There were some pretty uncomfortable moments, including almost getting broken into, and I don't know what would have happened if they have got in. We were in at the time. We would parked overnight at the ferry port in Tunis, which is the capital. And these drunk guys came knocking at the window, and I was like,
"What'd you do?"
Bonsoir. They wanted money. They're like, un dinar? Dinar is the currency there. And I was like, no, good night. I closed the blind again. And then there was this tearing sound, and they were trying to rip the door open, which was locked. But, motorhomes are not made of very strong materials. They rip through the fiberglass. And, and we were all set up for the night, so that, we had a overcab bed. So the bed would come down over the top of where you drive. And then we had the stove out, and we had the table down, like we just had dinner. And so I just jumped into the driver's seat underneath the bed and tried to get in, and started up and just tore off. And I could see in the rearview mirror that the guy was freaking hanging onto the door as I was driving. There was like a step, and the step was down.
Oh my God.
And it was like, oh my God. And Catherine saw it too, and she's like, slow down, he wants to get off. It was like,
oh my God.
And I was like swerving, like trying to get close to a lamppost and knock him off. And then I slowed down, and he jumped off, and then we left. And then we never spent another night outside of a paid walled caravan park. That was our lesson.
Wow.
We were really nervous about free camping after that.
Right.
It was a crazy place. It was wild. It was very much like you felt like you had this massive target painted on your back. People always ask you for money or for alcohol, and Muslim dry country, and it was intense. Wow. We met some really lovely people too, but oh my God, it was stressful. So we spent 3 months there hiding basically. And
Wow.
yeah, and we had like GPRS internet, which is like 2.5 G. So it would go at like modem speeds. So, I continued work, building the app, supporting it from the motorhome with that. And then we go back to...
The app is what? The map one or Loopy?
That was the map one, yeah. The Cartographer.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was running this little business from a motorhome in the caravan park in Tunisia. Yeah, but then we got back to Italy and and traveled a bit more, went through the south of France, and then we ended up in Wales, of all places. We wanted to house sit over winter because winter in a motorhome is not very nice.
Right.
And we were in this beautiful Welsh farm cottage. It was like this stone cottage that was on this massive property about in this little village called Ridivro, and don't ask me to spell it. And it was about probably an hour or so north of Cardiff in the in the hills. And so we were there over the winter, and it snowed, and it was just beautiful. And that was where with all this downtime, I gave Loopy another crack, and that was where Loopy HD happened.
Wow.
And yeah, so I basically sort of improved the interface and added a few more features and then released it and did a little bit more work promoting it, such as reaching out to WFX, who helped so much with that first launch. He made this cool video with it, and it was great.
Wow.
He was such a champion.
Okay, yo, let that rhythm come straight from your hips in. Let that fire come straight from your lips in. Let your cooler with that flow in the fear. Your fire just so sweet, I rip in the bits.
Cause I'm a motivator when it comes to the floor. Drop the rhythm, everything is secure. Come on, I let your lust overpower by romance. Get your foot to the ground now.
I said now, let the rhythm come straight from your hips. Let the fire come straight from your lips. Then let your cooler with the flow in the face. Fire just so sweet, I rip at the beats. Cause I'm a motivator when it comes to the floor. Drop the rhythm, everything is secure. Let your lust overpower by romance. Get your foot to the ground. Get ready to dance.
Yeah.
So all the features in Loopy HD that you were incorporating, where did those ideas come from? Because it sounds like it's not like you were live looping and needed an app to do it with, right? It's not your background.
No, it
so
wasn't.
I don't know.
I think it was mostly talking to people who used it. I mean, that's what I do now. As a software developer, one of the cardinal rules is dog fooding, where you eat your own dog food is the term, which is very unfortunate. But the idea is you use your own product because that's the only way that you work out how it should work and find ways to improve it. And I'm ashamed to say that I don't, because I'm not a live looper. I use it every day, but I use it as a developer. I test things. I play with ideas and test those, but I don't actually perform with it or record with it.
Wow.
I play Irish music where the loops are built in. You're meant to play the loops.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it all came from talking to people who used it. The very first version of Loopy, the one that I made in 2008 or whenever it was, and I didn't know anything about looping. I didn't know any of the terms. I called overdubbing something like mix recording. And then I had another kind of recording, which is called loop recording, which is basically overdubbing with a 0% decay. So it only keeps the last loop. And I came up with those things by watching Imogen Heap's performance on YouTube and going like, how did she do that? What was it? Oh, okay. So she's doing this and it's only keeping the last layer. So I built that without actually looking into anything.
Did you ever reach out to her?
I did. Yeah. I can't remember when. It might have been with the Loopy release, like the proper one, not the one when I was a hack. And she was kind. She made a tiny little short with it that she put on Instagram or something. Yeah. We haven't been in touch since then, but maybe one day. Yeah. But yeah, I was a hack, I didn't know what I was doing.
Wow. So were you looking up like hardware loopers and what they have and thinking about it that way?
This is the paradox of like my doing a PhD. So much of what a PhD is research. It's finding out what has come before and building on it. I can't do that. I've often described myself as output only. I'm really bad at researching. I just don't have the patience for it. I just want to make stuff. Which is, I don't think it's a great quality because it means that I make mistakes. I re-implement things that don't need to be re-implemented. I reinvent the wheel. It's quite silly. Which I suppose is partly why I'm so grateful to have, the ability to talk with people who use it and who have that knowledge. And then they can impart it via conversations and...
Right. That's a research method. I would say that's research.
Yeah. It's funny. I think it might be part of my, one of the hallmarks of autism, which I'm not autistic, but to be autistic, you have to have like all 7 or something traits. And I have a couple of them. One of them is this thing called monotropism, where you just really go deep. You have one thing that you like and you just go all the way down and you just become an expert at that one thing. And it also means that, if you're busily doing something and you have to do something else or someone wants your attention, that can be almost physically painful to stop doing it.
Wow.
So what that means for me, or at least how it feels for me, is that it means that stopping making stuff and going and doing research, I just find really difficult to do because it's not I don't know. I'm sure it manifests in different ways for different people, but that's how it is for me. I just, I like to just make the thing.
I mean, you are doing the research you need, whether it was watching, a video and like, how is she doing that? You just need very little research, I guess, to get these crazy apps going.
I suppose so, yeah. Yeah, I'll do the bare minimum that I need to. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Which interestingly, I see in my son as well. He doesn't want to know, today I found this, what I thought was a really compelling tutorial on how to use Procreate. And, the doing this quite nice picture of a mushroom in a forest, a little mushroom house. And I invited him to do that. And he said, oh, that sounds great. Now I'm going to draw my own. And he just started drawing his own thing. He doesn't know how to use it. He gets completely outraged when it doesn't work the way he expects, but like he's just going to dive in and do it. And that was kind of familiar. Yeah.
So you started, didn't something come before Loopy HD? Wasn't Audiobus before it? Was it after?
That was after. Yeah. That actually came out of Loopy HD. Yeah.
Okay.
So I launched Loopy HD and it went very well, It was
how long was that? Was it in that same winter in Wales? You already had an app?
that was when I did Loopy, and then it was quite a bit later when Audiobus came. So Loopy had been out for, I don't know, maybe a year or two, something like that. And and it had done quite well. And I kept getting these people emailing me saying, at the same time the music app community was blossoming, and there were just all these really great apps, synthesizers and, things like guitar effects modelers and all sorts of things. But you couldn't do anything with them. They just made noise. And, you would like say you had a guitar amp app, you'd plug in your guitar, you'd plug in your headphones, you'd get a nice guitar sound. That was it. By that time on the desktop, you had audio units and VSTs and things, and you could, obviously do everything that you can now, but there was nothing like that on the iPhone at the time. And so I would get emails from people saying, I've got my guitar amp app and I've got it plugged in and it sounds great, but when I record it in Loopy, I just get the dry sound. Why isn't it working? And, you know, my first inclination would be to say, well, of course it's not working. That's not how iOS works. But enough people sent me that email that I was like, well, why shouldn't it work that way? I mean, that would be great. That's how it should work. And so being the tinkerer that I am, I started messing around with, there's this thing on iOS called virtual MIDI, where an app can basically pretend to be a MIDI device, input or output. And that still exists now. You can use virtual MIDI to send MIDI between apps that aren't plugins, that they're both running side by side and they can send MIDI. And something I realized that I could do is I could take audio, convert it into sysx, which is a way to send random data over MIDI, and I could send it over virtual MIDI so that an app could send audio to another app.
Wow.
And yeah, and I just thought that would be really cool.
So you're just sitting in a motorhome somewhere in Europe and
by this point we were
tinkering.
We were in the south of France. We were in
Nice.
in the Pyrenees, in this beautiful little like medieval village on a river with this like 12th century cathedral ruins behind us. It was very pretty.
Wow.
And yeah, and we had like a Wi-Fi antenna that I would get up on the roof and I would sit there with my laptop with a Wi-Fi scanner, and I would slowly turn around until I found a network, because no one secured their Wi-Fi networks at the time. And that was like our internet connection. And yeah, so I made a prototype of this thing using MIDI to send audio between apps, and it freaking worked. I was able to do it also from one device to another. So I had like my iPhone and my iPad, and I could go hello, and it would come hello out of the iPad, or I made a little synth thing, and I could play the synth and it would play on the iPad, which was really cool over Wi-Fi. Yeah. So that became Audiobus basically. Yeah. At that point I was chatting with a guy in Germany called Sebastian, who had the idea that made it into a viable app, which was to, because I didn't know I knew it was going to be a lot of work, but I didn't know how to fund it, because you have to have this code in every app. And that was all it was. It was just, you know, like say Animogue would have to have the code running in it to send to Loopy, for example. There was no app. It was just an SDK, basically, a software development kit. And yeah, Sebastian was the one who's like, why don't you make an app that connects it all? That way you plug the connections together, and the app tells the participants what to do, how to connect. And so I was able to sell the app, which connected it all, and then give away for free the SDK so that third-party developers could put it in their app. And
so you just reached out to sent emails to app developers?
Pretty much, yep. And people loved it. It was a huge hit. And it was, you know, like all the big players came on board straight away. There was, you know, Moog and just a whole lot of really high quality apps, including GarageBand. GarageBand were for it right away. And that was, I think, possibly the first time that Apple have integrated a third-party SDK into their own product. So that was kind of a big deal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huge.
And it turned iOS music from something where you had all these separate things that you couldn't really use together to something where you could have like a virtual studio. So suddenly you could record your synth, you know, take a synth, run it through an effect, and record the result in something. And yeah.
So you invented the first host in iOS.
And the protocol to send all the audio around. Yeah.
Right. The host and the ability for other apps to be guests.
Yeah. Yeah. And it kind of predated. So we launched.
So crazy.
And I think it was actually as we were launching, there was a WWDC where they announced this thing called Inter-App Audio. and someone spotted it in a frame, and we didn't know what it was at the time, and like it was on the frame, but nothing came of it. There was no follow-up.
Okay.
We're like, what is that? And yeah, and sure enough, I think it was the next year. It was like they announced it, but they didn't actually release anything. But the next year, they invited me to San Francisco.
Who is they? Apple?
Apple, yeah. And they announced, they were releasing this thing, which basically did the same thing. It was like audio units on iOS. So, some people say like they copied, but it wasn't, because they announced it as we launched. I think it was a case of parallel evolution. Like they were already working on it.
Why did they invite you? Just as
they invited us out of respect, because along with announcing Intrap Audio, they closed off the system that I was using.
Can you elaborate?
It was really scary. So at the time, I mentioned that I was using MIDI to send audio over it. I realized before I launched that I could take it one step lower, because MIDI is built on this thing called muck ports, which is just this way for apps to communicate with each other. And that was what virtual MIDI was built on. And I realized, well, I just use Mac ports directly, because it means then I don't have to worry about converting the audio into something that you can send over MIDI, which was kind of insane, to be honest. And so that's what it was built on. And then with iOS 7, I think it was, their security team decided they were going to kill it. They were going to prohibit access to it. So what Apple did was they left open a back door for us for 1 year, which is really nice. I mean,
Us is you and all other developers, or was it mostly affecting you?
I mean, Sebastian and I, we were an us thing, because Sebastian basically joined the team and we were a duo for a while. So we had a year to figure out what we were going to do, because they'd pulled out the rug from under us, basically. So
in a polite way.
Yeah. It was like an awful thing to do, but they did it very politely.
Right. And
I get why they did it as well, because, it was about sort of tightening up the platform and having an open communication thing between any app is a bit, not great for privacy and security reasons. So I understand why they did it. Yeah, but it was a nightmare, because basically what I had to do was stop all development. I couldn't work on anything new. Instead, I had to throw away everything that I had built for the protocol and build it again upon Intrap Audio, which is this thing that they built. And that was really hard to make it still work with everything. And, in theory, Intrap Audio replaced Audiobus, or it certainly did functionally. It had a few problems with the user experience, but but I did that. I made it work, but it was really hard because Intrap Audio was, and still is, incredibly buggy. It was very unreliable, and it would just break all the time. And you would try to connect two apps, and they just would refuse to talk to each other. You had to restart them. So I probably spent 9 months building workarounds just to try to make it hold together. It was it
just
aged
to
me.
keep. Is this? I feel like it's aging you just talking about
That's
it.
right. It was so traumatic. It was just the worst. I built this thing, and then suddenly it was all going to come crashing into a heap.
So this is all talking about Audiobus, or is it affecting Loopy? Okay, so your other app isn't talking this language yet. So it's
Loopy
an
was
Audiobus.
one of the first hosts. So you could, with Loopy, you could use it to send audio out of Loopy, and you could take audio into Loopy. So it was sort of, I made it for Loopy. That was sort of the whole impetus behind Audiobus. So all this time, Loopy was benefiting from this big community of apps that would work with it now. Yeah.
Right.
And that was great. But there was this whole big turmoil with having to, rewrite it basically.
Yeah.
So
is Audiobus still around?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And people are using it and
Yeah. I actually, I think it was last year sometime. I have trouble keeping track of time these days for whatever reason. I think it might have been last year. I sold it. I actually sold Audiobus to these developers in Italy who, it wasn't the first time that people had made an offer, but it was the first time that I felt like it was worth a shot. The first time they just felt like the people offering were just gonna slap ads on it and just ruin it basically. But I felt like these guys were passionate about music and and at the time all I wanted to work on was Loopy. And so it is now no longer mine, but it still exists.
Okay.
And it I spent a lot of time before I even thought about Loopy Pro, basically just working on Audiobus. And when Audio Unit V3, AU V3s came out, I implemented that, and that was basically my job. And Loopy was just ticking away in the background, really. I wasn't really doing much with it at all.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was my life for a really long time. And at one point in 2013, because of the vagaries of bureaucracy related to having a motorhome that was registered in the UK, we were back in the UK to get it MOT'd. You have to do that every year. You have to get a British garage to check it over, make sure that it's still roadworthy. And so we would have to go back to the UK every year to do that. You couldn't do it anywhere else. So we were back in the UK and it was winter and it was miserable because you'd run out of water and you'd have to go and refill it, and the tap would be frozen outside because it was so cold, and there was just it was mud everywhere. It was miserable. And so we thought we might go and take a holiday from our holiday back in Australia. So we put our motorhome into storage, and this lovely guy who had a farm in Kent, and he offered a service where he had a little lot where you could park your van and he'd look after it for you, basically. So we did that, and we went back to Australia, and we were only going to stay for the summer and then head back, and we thought we might actually go and live in Germany for a while, in Berlin. But we never left. That was it. We were
what happened?
Transfixed. Well, I think it was like the first morning. So we went and stayed with my parents first, who live 10 minutes away from here. And they live like tucked into this beautiful forest. It's like tree ferns and it's delightful, the view from their place. And we were completely jet lagged and woke up at 5 a.m. or something. And you'd stand out in the veranda and it was warm and there were kookaburras singing and this smell of the forest. And
wow.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this actually is really nice. That coupled with the not feeling like we were a burden, because dealing with visas and having to count down the days until you had to move on and getting in trouble. And, when we would go back to the UK, we got stopped and, they would look at my bank account and be like, why are you earning money? You're not allowed to earn money. And it was just, it was so stressful. It was like being treated as a criminal, as a tourist. It sucked. So being able to be back in Australia and just be, this is where I belong, and we don't have to worry about someone kicking us out in a few months. And it was just easier. So here we stayed, and we kind of house sat and stuff for about 11 months or something while we looked for a house, and we found this place and bought it, and here we are.
Wow.
Yeah. And in that time after we moved here, and I think I had a little bit of breathing room with Audiobus. It was sort of in a holding pattern. And that was when I thought I'd go back to Loopy again. And in all of the years since I released it, I'd had so many conversations with people who had all these things they wanted to do with it, but couldn't. There was this guy, I remember this guy, Tom. In fact, I think I've got my phone on me. Oh no, my phone is the camera.
Oh no.
I can't look it up. I think in Loopy HD even now, there's, it's very different to Loopy Pro, but it's a lot less flexible, but there is an action in Loopy HD that's like Tom's action or something. And
Really?
It does all of these crazy things because he wanted it. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, I'll put that in for you, sure.
Where is he from?
I have no idea. I mean, it was so long ago, I don't even remember his last name. And we haven't really been in touch since then, but it was
Tom, if
interactions
you're watching,
like
thank you.
Yeah, that's right. Push me. Yeah, it was funny. And it was so many things like that where I was just running up against the limitations of what Loopy could do. And I just had this epic document full of like things I wanted to try, I wanted to enable people to do. And so
was that list just from what people were writing you?
Yeah. Yeah. Just, when someone would come in with a feature request, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds kind of cool. I'd pop it in the list. And so
how are people reaching you? Like, how did they?
By email, pretty much. Or sometimes maybe by Facebook. Did Facebook exist just back then? Probably. Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Facebook is old.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I mean, is that something typical? Like, are all developers that accessible, or is it something you were like consciously did from the beginning?
Yeah, I mean, it helps being just one person because you can't not interact with your user base when you're one person, because that's all you are.
So one of the reasons because I had to make a decision which loop station I'm going to use. And I had a lot of reasons for choosing Loopy Pro, but one of them was I was aware that the developer was accessible. Like I knew ahead of time, like there is someone who responds, whether it's on the Facebook forum or on I think I had your email, like, and I'm just curious I don't know, is that just an obvious part of being a developer, or is it something you were conscious of? Did something happen to make you realize it's a valuable thing?
Yeah, right. It is something that some people do. I mean, that's one of the things that I really like about this community, like the iOS developer community, because there are lots of us that are indies that are just one person doing it. And yeah, they're not a faceless company, they're people, and you can talk to them and they're enthusiastic and they reply. And I think a lot of us are like that. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty clear early on that was how I was going to get to do good work, because it's talking to people and finding out what they need and getting ideas from people about how stuff can work. That's what has made what I do possible, really. Because, I don't use it myself, I'm ashamed to say, but I do listen to people who do. And that's
so crazy.
Yeah, I have to. Yeah, it's kind of, it's just the way that it goes. And I've been
ever
fortunate
since Loopy, before Loopy HD, there was Loopy. So ever since that came out, people have been contacting you with ideas and requests.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep. You get bombarded with them, and it's great. I mean, I love getting feature requests. Yeah. Sometimes it's a bit overwhelming, as it is now. The roadmap site for Loopy Pro, which is like this open forum, basically, where you can put feature requests in, people can vote on them, and I don't even know how many thousands of things are on there, but it's a lot. It is massive. And some of those will probably never see the light of day, I'm very sorry to say, but it's great because it helps guide.
Okay. Right. Like, what is your relationship? So I asked other people if they have questions. That's one of the questions that I thought was very interesting is, what is your relationship to this roadmap?
Yeah.
How do you, is it based on popularity? Is it just an idea that connects with you? Is it?
A bit of both. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, some of the things in there that are really popular are quite hard. For example, there's a quite high up is a multi-core support where you use multiple CPUs as part of your audio rendering thing, so that if you've got, I mean, all of these devices have multiple cores in them now, so they can do parallel processing. And a little while ago, Apple supported that for audio. It didn't used to be possible with audio. Like you'd get, the hardware would say, I need to play audio now. And then your code would generate that audio and give it to the hardware. And that was all happening in one thread of execution. But now they've done this thing where you can split out the processing and it can do a bunch of things in parallel and then merge it back together at the end and provide it to the hardware. That's really hard to do. And it's really popular, but I just know that there are so many things that I could do in that time that I think are more valuable. That's why I haven't done anything towards that yet. I may one day.
That's interesting.
But so there's a bit of sort of judgment in there. It's not just going based on popularity. But I definitely use it as a source of inspiration. And it's a lot slower than I would like it to be, being a parent, and now being a homeschooling parent. It's been a real challenge. I mean, it's the best decision that we could have made for our kid, but it's been kind of disastrous for my productivity. You know, I now have to.
Right.
Because
you're a part-time teacher.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So I split the parenting 50-50 with my wife. So we do like 2 days on, 2 days off, more or less. And yeah, it's pretty devastating for productivity because, you know, I might build up a head of steam by the second day, and then everything just falls in a heap again because I've got to go be a parent and try and, there's that monotropism thing where it just hurts to have to stop. I have to like tear myself away from it. And and be a parent for 2 days and then trying to remember like, what was I working on? And try and pick up all the pieces again. So you lose a lot of time. That's why Loopy Pro 2, you know, it should have taken a few months, but it took, I don't even know how long.
Years.
Yeah. And that's how it goes. So I've learned since becoming a homeschooling parent, I've learned to really pick my battles with work, you know, to pick the things that are going to be most impactful.
Right.
And, you know, previous to becoming a parent, I look back and I'm almost embarrassed at the things that I spent time on back then. You know, Loopy Pro has this automatic loop detection thing built in. So you punch in, you can just hang around for as long as you want. And then you start playing, and then you put your guitar down, and then you hit stop recording. There's huge gaps at the beginning and the end, and Loopy will figure out what a nice tight loop is from that. That took an embarrassingly large amount of time to do, and it was fun, but it was very self-indulgent as far as use of time goes. That sort of thing.
Why? Because the figuring out how to code was this. Is that the satisfactory part?
It was delightful. Yeah, it was so much. It was just such a fun challenge. You know, and I really like digital signal processing, DSP. It's a fun thing, you know. So to do that, basically, you know, I do this thing called autocorrelation, where you take the audio and you basically multiply it by itself. And what you get as a result of that is you get these spikes where there's a pattern. And so, you know, lots of cool things like that go into this algorithm. But yeah, I would never do something like that now, because I would know that time is so precious, and that I have to be really ruthless and efficient with my time.
And is it also that do you feel that the community of users is growing? Like, does that change your experience at all?
It does, yeah. I mean, I still love what I do, but part of the real joy of going through the process of developing it was that there was nothing to break. I could just, it was just a sandbox because there were no users. There's this, you know, job X would be perfect if it wasn't for clients of job X, for the, you know, customers, for the users, everything would be so great. And it was I mean, that's not true, because I love my user base and my community, and, you know, the Loopy Pro community is just delightful. But yeah, I mean, they rely on me, which is also partly why Loopy Pro 2 took so long, because I feel this huge sense of obligation to not break stuff, or at least to do my utmost to not break stuff, because people are depending on it for doing shows and things. So it's a lot less fancy free, I suppose, than it has been in the past. Now I've got this real sense of obligation to tread carefully.
Right.
Which slows things down, and it's a lot more serious than it was. I feel like I've kind of finally got a grown-up job rather than just being a hack, you know. Maybe I'm still a hack, I don't know. But
and is it are you happy to be in that place, or is there a part of you that wants to like think of something new and
I mean,
go back
both.
to that?
It's great because I feel like what I do has meaning, and it, I hear from so many people I mean, I don't even know how to, I get a bit emotional about it sometimes because when I began this project, I had this sort of dream that I wanted to make something that was, I mean, I guess we all want to make an impact, right? Like to do something that matters,
Right.
To make an impact on the world. And I had hopes, but I didn't have any expectations. But to hear from people who are like, this has transformed my career, and like, that's amazing. That's an incredible thing to hear. So that's amazing. I wouldn't give that up for anything. But of course,
Wow.
being fancy free and just being able to hack away on code and release crazy stuff, I can't really do that anymore. And that was fun.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah.
has it ever crossed your mind to hire people or to work with a team? And if it has crossed your mind, why aren't you? Like, I'm curious about this decision to be a one.
Well, in
one
some ways I
person
have. I
indie.
mean, Edward Spiegel, who's I don't even know how to describe Edward. He's like the guru of gurus of Loopy Pro. He knows more about Loopy Pro than I do. And he, right from the start, he was incredibly supportive.
What do you call the start?
Well, before I launched, like while I was in beta, and in fact, before beta, like before there was any code, for example, I would reach out.
But there was already HD. You're talking
there
about
was
Loopy
HD,
Pro?
yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so before Loopy Pro came out. Okay.
That's right, yeah. Edward was there. He was supportive. I reached out to the community saying, can people send me loop samples? Because I want to make this auto loop detector, and I need a bunch of different samples that I can test it against. And Edward made a bunch of those. And
Cool.
And after launch, he was so supportive of the community. He was always right there first with an answer. And he was really, really helpful with testing. Turns out that's his profession. He worked in QA and retired, and then and
where is he from?
He's in California.
Okay.
And and just I appreciate Edward so much. He's amazing. And so he's now part of the team.
If you've ever been on Facebook, you appreciate Edward.
Yeah.
There's
Lots
not
of love
one
for
of
Edward.
us who hasn't gotten an answer. A problem solved. Thanks
That's
to
right.
Edward.
Yeah. And it's, I needed him because it got to the point where, so many questions coming in, and it's great to have community and have forums and things, but often it's, forums can be sort of the blind leading the blind a little bit.
Yeah.
You need someone who really knows the ropes, who can step in and say, right, this is how it should be. And I was doing a lot of that, and I was dropping the ball all over the place because it was really hard because I was trying to work on it and be a parent.
Of course.
And Edward was already there. He was already stepping in and helping. So so Edward is now part of the team. So I'm not just a lone wolf. Edward is basically like.
But is he developing with you?
No, I mean he helps test. He's an incredible QA engineer, and so he's always the one who just dives deep. And the way that he works is that one of the testers will have a problem. They'll record a video showing it, which is great. And then Edward will take that and then will reproduce it on his end and figure out the exact steps and present that to me. And then rather than my having to spend what might be an hour or two trying to figure out like why is this happening, Edward has already figured out the answer, and all I need to do is just fix the code. So
amazing.
He's not on the tools. He's not actually writing code, but he's helping to do the QA. Which is something that is really, really important with this product, because it, if I was making app to post to Instagram or something, if you have a buggy release, it's not the end of the world. But with Loopy Pro, and with the inability to downgrade on iOS, if I release a dodgy update and someone updates and then they have a show the next day and it's like, that's just not acceptable. So I have to put a lot of effort into QA, and Edward is on the front lines of that, and he's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But in
and
terms
it's
of
amazing what happened with the 2.0 release where
I know, it was so smooth.
crickets.
Amazing.
So smooth.
I've never had a release that smooth, like a major one. It was unreal. And that was also partly because I opened up the beta and we had like more than 1,000 testers. I heard from only a tiny fraction of them, but I was getting the crash logs. And so, yeah. So there was, but yeah, I mean, Loopy Pro 2 probably had 9 months of just QA stuff, just iterating. Because, you know, most apps, they have a pretty limited scope, you know, they do a couple of things, and it's not that hard to go through and test it all and make sure that it works, you know. But with Loopy Pro, because it's sort of a meta app, you can make apps out of this app. There are so many different ways to use it. It means there are a trillion different ways that it can break. And so I add a new feature, or I fix one thing and something over here will break. And it was like bug whack-a-mole for a long time. And it's not because of a lack of, you know, attention on my part. I've been doing this for a very long time, and I think I'm reasonably good at coding, and I have, you know, a fairly good. Well, we'll see. I have a fairly good structure of, you know, tests, because the way one should be coding is that you write tests as you write the code, so that you know that it's working the way that you expect. And I have lots of unit tests and things, but despite all of that, people still find ways to break it. And yeah, so that's a lot of work.
That's the beauty of Loopy Pro.
Yeah, you've got enough rope.
Wow. So I want to ask you so many questions about Loopy Pro today, but I just want to spend a little more time about the past before we move on to the present and future. So you moved back to Australia, and is that when Loopy Pro was starting to
so I mentioned that
make
itself, you know, that to-do list, that list of feature ideas, and I basically just sat down and went for weeks and went, how can I, like, what is it that makes all of these possible? How do I and not turn into a spaghetti app? Because there are some apps which will not be named in the music space that have had years of adding and adding and adding, and are kind of drenched in technical debt as a result. And I really didn't want that to happen. I wanted to try and figure out a structure where I could say yes to all of the feature requests without having to add to this burden over time. I mean, which happens anyway. It's kind of how apps develop. But I wanted to minimize that. And so what I came up with was this idea of having like an action system where you could put actions together and kind of make your own, almost like scripting, I suppose, but in a way that was understandable. I didn't want to write a scripting language. Maybe I will one day. But out of the gate, I wanted something that was still accessible, or at least as accessible as I could make it. So I started coming up with it. And at that point, I realized that the input from the community is what would make it work, because I wanted to be able to talk to people about it, and people who kind of had a stake in it. That's one of the things with working alone without a team. There's no one to bounce ideas off. It's weird. It's kind of isolating. And so I decided I would develop it in public. So I made this announcement video in 2014 saying, like, I've got this idea for this app and I think it's going to be cool, but I need some help along the way. And so I started this video blog where I would talk every few days or every week about what I've been working on. And, you know, the first few episodes, I basically walked through my mock-up and talked about my class diagram and how, you know, this action system is going to work. And I did that.
I just watched it. I just found it.
Cool.
Thanks to Inky, who left a comment. I looked it up, and all of you should go watch it. It made me emotional, you know, to like, because we made it. I mean, you made it.
Yeah, it happened. Yeah. It's really funny, actually. The very first video where I announce it, I say, this is a big project. It's not going to happen immediately. It might take 6 months to a year of development time. 7 years, baby. 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I had a child along the
7
way.
years.
And
Right.
yeah, there were mitigating factors, but I was a bit mortified at that. Yeah.
Wow. That was funny. I laughed at that part.
Yeah. That's classic me though. I'm so bad at estimating timelines. I've learned just to not, someone asks, when is the Mac version coming out? I'm just, I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah.
It'll be embarrassing for me at some point. Yeah. Especially now, because I still think about how long it will take me in my pre-parent phase, but now I have to multiply by something, but I don't know what that something is. It might be 3, maybe 4. And it's,
Right.
estimating timelines is hard. But yeah, so I started developing it kind of in public, and that went for a while. That stopped when I got this email from, I'm not going to say who it is, but
Okay.
a fellow developer who claimed that I was infringing on his patent. I wasn't. In fact, I don't even know how it managed to get. Yeah, it was. I won't go into it, but it scared the bejesus out of me.
Wow.
I was like, I can't do this in public anymore. This is, if I'm talking about the nuts and bolts of how this stuff works, it was scary. So
What was scary? A lawsuit or that people will copy you?
a lawsuit. Yeah,
Wow.
it was threatening. It was like, let's have a conversation about licensing. And yeah, it was kind of scary. Fortunately, it didn't go anywhere, but it put the fear of God into me, and I stopped doing that. Yeah, I just didn't have any. Yeah. So unfortunately, that killed that. But it was fun while it lasted, and I got lots of really good input along the way. So that was great. Yeah. I hate patent stuff. I hate it so much. I mean,
Have you
I get it.
patented anything?
No, I haven't. Yeah, I like the freedom of ideas. I mean, I get patents for some things, but software patents, it just gives me a funny taste in my mouth. I'm sure there are exceptions, and I'm sure, it's maybe it's colored by the fact that I've been threatened with one, but yeah, it just puts a bad taste in my mouth. I don't like it. Yeah, I like the ideas of, the ideas can be free, and yeah, of course, if you put the work in and it's something that is genuinely novel, then I mean, maybe there's an argument to be had. I'm not going to come down hard on stuff without really fully investing in the thought process, but it makes me uncomfortable. Yeah. Anyway, so I mean, it was 7 years. It was a really long time working on this thing, and part of that was because we had our kid, and it was also that I was sort of juggling Audiobus as well, because that still needed attention. And Sebastian and I parted ways during that process, and then I realized I had to get it into a holding pattern, so I had to implement some things that needed to be in there, and so that took me away for a long time, but got there eventually.
So 7 years until you released Loopy Pro 1.0.
That's right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah. Nothing's ever taken so long. It's like 2 PhDs back to back.
Well,
but,
and it's an app that feels like a PhD. I mean, it's so deep. Even 1.0, it is so deep.
Yeah, it's massive. It's a massive project. Yeah.
So everything on there is just people's suggestions. I don't know, follow actions. The way it's just people writing you an email. Hey, I wish I could do this, and you put it on the list, and then you figured out how to. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure some
So
ideas in there are
beautiful.
mine, but yeah, I mean, a lot of it is guided by the community. I think that's
Amazing.
Yeah. It just
Very
works.
powerful.
It works so beautifully. And there are certain, people like Ben, DubFX, we've been talking about it for a long time. And, Yeah, it's that sort of symbiosis. Like he has this thing that he wants to do, and of course, you know, like it makes sense for him to talk to me, and then I get all these amazing ideas from someone who's a professional musician using it, and so I'm going to put them in, and so we have this I have this partnership, and it's with so many different people. You know, I'm in touch with so many, and yeah, it's kind of like a group effort, really. I mean, I'm the one that's on the tools, but like the whole thing is really, it's like the brainchild of all of us in many
And
ways.
at any point, did it make you want to start looping music? Or it never...
Sometimes, to be honest, once I started building it, like, I think this is what I'm here to do. I just love making tools. It's just fun. It's fun solving the technical problems and then having and making something that other people can use.
Wow.
I don't know why, because the original, like the very first time I started making Loopy, the very first one, I made it because I wanted to play with it. I wanted to do this amazing thing that Imogen was doing, but I never did it. I just started making it. I'm like, I like making it too much.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah.
So right now you're a dad and you're homeschooling, so some of your days are away from work, but
Yeah.
on the days where you're working on your apps, can you kind of take us behind the scenes of what that looks like? What is a day?
Yeah.
I
don't know what it looks like now. I mean, for the past year and a half or however long it's been working on too, you know, much of that, you know, so I work here. This is our cabin, by the way. So we built this when we realized that we were going to be homeschoolers, whether we wanted to or not. And at the time we were working in the house. This is my wife, Catherine, and I. She's an illustrator artist, and I'm a software developer, and we both work from home, which is great. But it was just during the burnout times. It was really hard. There was a lot of emotional stuff going on. Because mainstream school is really hard on autistic kids. It's dread. I mean, it's hard on neurotypical kids, but it's really hard on autistic kids. And a lot of them end up in burnout, and that's where we were at. And yeah, so you would be on duty for the day. I think at that time we were doing day on, day off, because that was all we could manage. You could do a day and then you needed a break. But the problem was the days off. It was all happening just the other side of that door, and you could hear it all. And you'd just be steeped in cortisol all day long, because you could hear all of the awfulness, and it was happening to your partner and you wanted to be there to help them, but you needed to recharge to be okay for the next day. And it was awful. So we built this. So this is where whoever is off duty comes out here. And so this is where I work. And
it's nighttime now, but I've seen it in the day and it's magical.
Yeah, it's lovely. We have this wildflower meadow out here. It's winter at the moment, but in the spring we're really lucky. Like where we live, it's brilliant.
Amazing.
We're really blessed. Yeah, I mean, you know, the autism thing is a challenge, but I think all up we're so lucky. Yeah. So yeah, I come out here in the morning and I would open up Slack. So we have a beta testing group on Slack, which is separate from the Discord or the Facebook or the forum group, just to kind of keep all the beta stuff in one place. Okay. And it's kind of like working with a team. I mean, it is working with a team. It's just that somehow none of them are paid. Sometimes I feel like I should pay all of them, but maybe one day when Loopy gets super financially successful. Yeah, so I would go through, you know.
But they're users who are also telling you about what, like problems they've encountered, or?
Yeah. Okay. So the beta is basically a separate version of the app that you can install through TestFlight, which is Apple's testing platform. And yeah, and you just get the bleeding edge. Like whatever I've been working on that day, I upload it that night and that's what you get. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And living in Australia, it's very interesting because when I'm awake, everybody else is asleep. It's late for me. I should be in bed by now. And So the way it works is that I will work all day fixing the things that have been reported on the Slack.
Okay.
And I might knock off maybe 5, maybe 10 things, maybe one thing, depends on how complicated it is. I will upload the next build that night. I'll go to bed, and then I'll do a day of parenting, and then I'll get up the next day. That's my off-duty day, and I'll come out here and I'll open it up and I'll have, oh, here are all the things that broke when I tried to fix something else. And I would just iterate on that, basically. It would be, it was kind of torturous at times because it was like bug whack-a-mole, you know, you'd fix one thing and then that would break someone else's workflow. And so, okay, now I have to fix both of those. It's like balancing plates. But
I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it felt a bit like a job for a long time. Often, you know, I'm so unbelievably lucky that I get to do this. And most of the time it's a jolly romp, but it felt like a job for a while back there. There wasn't much creativity stuff going in. Yeah. Before all of that sort of QA phase, it was building the mini loops and all that stuff, which was really fun because it was, I would get into a flow state and I would just, I would be jacked in and that was fun. But yeah.
And are you just looking, so I don't know anything about programming, coding. I know nothing. Like I can't think of someone, I don't think there's anyone more ignorant than me about this. So
I do magic.
What are you, are you staring at a bunch of letters and numbers?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
pretty much. So
how do you know what to change?
Lots of detective work. It's all detective work. So yeah, so maybe I spent so much time working on clicks
on what?
All different places. Clicks, like little pops and sounds in loops, because the way that, for example, with if you've got intro and outro turned on, Loopy will record a little bit before the loop starts. It'll record the loop and then it'll record a little bit after it finishes. And with audio, you can't just slap two bits together. With a loop, you can't just play and then go back to the beginning and play again. Everything has to be beautifully cross-faded, and you have to add micro-fades, and you can't just, because otherwise if you have some audio and then you just stop or you move to somewhere else, you get a click, because you've got, you have a waveform and it might be like that and then it ends up there and then you drop to silence and you get this hard discontinuity. So everything has to be beautifully smooth, and that can be quite difficult to do well. So for example, someone will say, when I have tail recording on, I get a click when the tail kicks in. And so I will sit there. Maybe what I will do is I'll record it myself, and then I'll look at the recording in a waveform editor so I can see like where is it happening. And then I might add some stuff in the code that generates the audio that outputs like what it's doing into a log. And I'll look at the log and I'll compare that with the audio file, and I'll say, okay, it was at that point where maybe I was reading the wrong bit of the outro audio or something. It gets very, very technical and detailed. And
wow.
I spent way too long working on that stuff, but it's beautiful in Loopy Pro 2. It's so smooth now.
It's crazy.
I hope it is. Yeah, so it's that kind of sleuthing. So I'll have my big Xcode editor. Xcode is the like the main tool for working on macOS and iOS. So you get a window full of code, and and I'll sit there and I'll have my iPad beside me. Although at the moment all of my testing is done with the Mac version of Loopy Pro, which is running and works really well, and it's the same code base as the iOS version. In fact, when the macOS version launches, it will be called like version 2.1 or something, because it's exactly the same code.
So when is it coming out? No,
yeah, tomorrow.
Just kidding, kidding.
Yeah, it might be 6 months to a year of development time, but it will be soon. Probably 6 months to a year. I don't know. When it's done.
You don't have to give an answer.
Yeah, actually,
this was a practice.
It's pretty close.
Practice.
It's pretty close, and it's already being used by some quite big musicians like Beardy Man, who's using it to perform. It's part of the Beardytron.
Amazing.
So That's the VST running in Ableton Live. So, you know.
Amazing. It's coming.
You can kind of infer from that about how close it is. It's getting there.
Yeah.
Needs a bit more polish, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I work with this. I have I wear this all day long. This is a Quest 3, and I use this app called Immersed, which gives me virtual screens that come from my Mac, and I have a wireless split keyboard. So I have like one side here and one side here, and I sit on the couch here with and this is my mouse as well. So yeah, it's like I use like arrow keys to control the mouse, so I don't have to have a separate mouse. And yeah, so I have this big window with all the code, and I just fix stuff all day long. Yeah, and I'm at this exciting point now where all of that stuff is done. I get to work on new things, so that's kind of fun. Yeah. Well,
is there anything you want to share?
Kind of. I mean, the new thing is the Mac version, right? So it's actually, it might in fact be more of the same because it's basically done. I just need to make sure it works well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I need to do things like finish off the VST support because it can host VSTs, but I need to, support things like presets. It's quite rudimentary at the moment. And it also works as a VST, so I need to make sure that all works. So there'll be probably a little bit more of the same that's been in the last year of my life, which is making it all work. Yeah.
I'm going back to a question I already asked you, but I feel like I don't quite have a grasp on the answer. Like, what makes you want to work on your own? Like, why not hire a developer and say, hey, check the list. This is what needs to be fixed. And let me go dream of new features or a new app.
Yep. I digressed, didn't I? Yeah. Maybe because I'm an only child. If I'm brutally honest. Yeah, I have worked with another developer in the past, Gabriel, who worked on Audiobus with me, and it was great. He was able to run with it, and he did a really good job. I guess there are sort of two factors. The first is that as fortunate as I've been and as successful as Loopy Pro is, it's not quite enough to sustain a decent income for multiple people. It's great for me, and I can, and it's enough that I can hire some people to help. But, to get a really, I wouldn't want to work with someone who is like a graduate. Loopy Pro is quite hard. It's quite sort of it's a tricky piece of software to work with.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And so I would want someone who is very experienced, and they deserve to be paid a lot. And I can't afford to do that.
Right.
So that's part of it. And the other part is, I think I've gotten a bit spoilt with being, like, the indie life is really cool because apart from your user base, no one's depending on you. You don't have to be up at a certain time. I can work when I want to work. In theory, if I wanted to, I could take a holiday and just step away from it all. I'm not sure if that will ever actually happen, but I want to keep the possibility open. And having a team, even if it's a team of one other person kind of relying on me, depending on me, it just gives me a uncomfortable feeling. It's just, I like being able to be just one guy and I can work on what I want to work on, and it gives me more freedom. Yeah, there's this.
So I can relate so much because I've made the decision to be a one-woman band.
Yeah, true.
Based on a lot of different factors, but
it's just
it comes with a lot of hardships, but
it does, but also freedom.
I wouldn't trade it.
Yeah, ditto. Yeah, I just like it. I like being able to not have to justify decisions to anyone. And and the other thing about software developers, oh my God, it's like herding kittens. Like, everyone's got their own way of doing things, and if it's different, it's wrong. And it was so funny. Gabriel and I both noticed that in each other. It's he'd be like, "Why is it built this way?" I don't think he ever said it to me, but I remember Sebastian would be like, "Gabriel was was complaining about your code today.
Wow.
And it's just,
Interesting.
yeah. I mean, I don't know how universal that is, but it's certainly been my experience working in teams in the past, although it was a long time in the past. But it's nice to be able to just do it the way that you like to do it and
Yeah.
not having to have any compromises, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. It probably comes with
Okay.
downsides because I think there's a risk of kind of ossifying and getting stuck behind. You know, it's such a cliche, the old guard developer who wants to code in everything in Pascal, which is, you know, a programming language that stopped being used 20 years ago, maybe more, and just hasn't updated their skill set. I can imagine that being a real risk when working alone and not having sort of fresh blood to come in and provide new ideas. But apparently I don't care enough to do anything about it. So I'm still programming in Objective-C. I don't touch Swift. And yeah.
I don't know what you just said, but go.
Someone
Old fashioned is the
yeah.
One of the questions people wanted to know was your what do you think about AI in music production? But I actually know that you use AI in every day.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that? Like, how do you view AI and how do you use AI? What are your thoughts about it? It's a very hot topic for all of us.
It is. It's really interesting. I guess I'm still kind of figuring out how I feel about it. I feel lots of things about it. Because, like, personally speaking, it's made me, I don't know what number, at least 2 times, maybe 3 or 4 more effective. Because I can...
Wow.
I'll give you an example. So Loopy Pro 2 has this new thing where you can select more than one. You can select multiple items on the canvas and then resize them as a group. You know, you used to have to do it one
I didn't
by
know
one.
that.
Oh, it's so much better. It's so good. And yeah, it used to just be one element at a time. I didn't mean it for it to be like that forever. It was just like when you've got 10,000 things to work on, you pick and choose, right?
Right.
I don't really have to pick and choose so much anymore. So one day I was like, because GPT, which is what I use, it's been steadily getting better and better. And I was like, I think it's up to the task of figuring out how to do this for me. And so I would just give it the code that controls that part of things. And I would say, look, I want to do multiple selections for this. Can you write a specification for how it should work? And then we'll iterate on that. And then I want you to write the code. And I batched that in a day. Like it would have taken me probably like at least a week to figure it all out, because it's quite, working out how to scale multiple elements in such a way that they stay on the grid, because that was the whole thing with Loopy Pro. Like it's not free, it's on a grid.
Right.
That's quite challenging to do, and it was more than I was up for. But I was able to bash it out in a day. I think it took me 2 days to iron out the kinks. But yeah, with GPT,
Wow.
I just couldn't have done it otherwise. So I love it for that.
ChatGPT wrote a code and then you're kind of editing it back and forth. So you do have a team.
Yeah, that's right. I do. Artificial team. Yeah.
Right.
And GPT is great because it integrates with Xcode. So it can look at the code that you've got open on your screen.
Wow.
And it can make changes. You don't have to copy and paste. Like it'll make changes straight to it. So it's really fast. And I mean, yeah, it's not perfect. You have to kind of understand that it has limitations. It makes bizarre mistakes. I'm sure everyone's familiar with that.
Yeah, it was just telling me, I was like, when should I don't remember what I asked about, some date. And it was like, you should do it Friday, August 1st. And I was like, what? What year is Friday, August 1st? Like in what? Friday is not August 1st on my calendar. What's happening here?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
It's very strange. Like we think, as humans, we try to map, like we anthropomorphize stuff that seems like it's thinking, and the mistakes it made are like, a human would never make that mistake. So it makes it really difficult to work with a lot of the time. But as you get more used to it and understand its limitations, you can be more effective. And you know that, for example, you don't just ask it to do something, you ask it to plan out how to do that thing first. Then you get it to follow those instructions. So there are tricks to make it work better. And yeah, and for me, it's unbelievable because like the scaling thing, like I can do things now, which I probably wouldn't even attempt because it was just, I have this much time to spend. Is it better to spend that time on this one thing or these 10 things? And I'll do the 10 things. And so lots of things will get lost, but now I can do them. So it's so good.
Wow.
And that just, it makes me a lot faster. I love that part of GPT. And we're at a point where with very minimal programming knowledge, people can just make all sorts of things. And not just in programming too, but in any field almost. I think if you have agency, as in, you're able to come up with ideas and act on them and follow through, you don't necessarily have to have all the skills to implement each step of that process now. AI can do it for you or can at least point the way. And so people who are already high agency can now be incredibly high agency. So I think that's wonderful. And there's no better time in history for starting new projects because you can do these things so easily now.
You think I can program an app just using ChatGPT? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's with no programming knowledge, it's a little tricky because there's this thing called vibe coding, which is becoming increasingly popular, where you don't even look at the code that you basically just work with the output. So you say, I want an app that does this, and then you run it, and it's like, well, that doesn't work properly, and then you get it to fix it, and then you run it. You don't look at the code. It's possible to make good things with that, but it's unlikely because it does tend to make really stupid mistakes. And it,
Do you foresee, if you have to guess the future, do you think in like a year or 5 years that will work?
Oh, yeah, probably next year, if not sooner. Yeah, and the rate of change of this stuff is fabulous and terrifying at the same time. Like it's just
like is there any part of you that's scared of that? Like that people that haven't studied coding are just gonna take over your jobs? Or
I
any
I
other
think that's great.
fear of
the more people are able to make cool stuff, the better. That's great.
Okay.
That's a fantastic outcome if that happens. Yeah, what I'm scared. I mean, I feel like we haven't figured out the economics yet, because so the good part is that you can be really high agency if you're high agency. But the bad part is there's so many things which, I mean, I personally am not in a position to hire another developer. Maybe I will be at some point. But with GPT, I feel less like I need to. So, you can make the argument that has just cost someone, it won't yet, but maybe in like 5 years when Loopy is making $1 trillion and I can actually afford a team, I might not feel like I need to. And that is really scary. And of course, where is that money going? It's going to the big tech companies. And I suppose staying in my pocket, which, maybe I'll be a tech giant by then, who knows? But yeah, like we're at this point where on an individual level, for some of us, it's really great. It's this incredible maximizer of our abilities. But on a societal level, like we're not prepared. And it could be, like it's one of those inflection points, and it could go, it could be the beginning of a utopia. Like it will solve all our problems. It will figure out how to fix climate change. It will fix politics, which is kind of the root of all of the problems. And, it could solve everything, but it will also in the process destroy a whole bunch of stuff. And our economic system isn't ready to deal with, the concentration of wealth.
Wow, that's so interesting.
And stuff. It's really scary. And what it's doing for music, Ben was saying, we were chatting the other day about dub effects, about Spotify. And now if you search for dub effects on Spotify, you'll get some of his stuff, but you'll also get a bunch of AI generated music, apparently. When you search for his name specifically, I haven't tried it myself. I don't use Spotify, but like,
And is it the same on Apple Music, or is this a Spotify thing? Like, do we just have to quit Spotify?
Maybe. I mean, I personally hate Spotify. I use Apple Music because they pay their musicians a bit better.
Yeah.
I mean, ideally, I use Bandcamp and I pay the musician directly. But yeah, it's it's so cynical, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, that's the bad side, because where it can be used for good, it can also be used for evil.
Yeah.
And that's aside from like all of the deepfake stuff and, you know, the end of truth. And yeah, it's AI is scary. It's kind of everything, you know. But for me personally, I love using it. Yeah.
And do you see it in any way, AI music being incorporated in Loopy Pro in any way? Or
I mean,
I don't even know what that looks like. But
yeah, I can imagine it being useful for stem extraction. I mean, that's one use. I don't know if it's not generative AI. That's just, you know, stem extraction, but it uses something a bit like AI to do it. That's where you take a full track and then you take the drums out and you take the vocals out and you take the rhythms. You know, there are iOS apps that do that already. It's just, and there are libraries that are publicly available that can do it. Not great, but yeah. But in terms of generative stuff, I just like, what's the point? I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, but I was curious to ask.
Yeah, I mean, writing code, great. But for creative endeavors, I guess I haven't thought about it that much. Maybe there's a compelling argument, but I can't think of one. Yeah.
Yeah. What is the, since we're kind of moving to present and future, like, what is the future of Loopy Pro? Like, I don't know, 1 year from now, and then 5 years from now, and 10 years from now.
Yeah,
What's
that's a good question. I don't know. I kind of go where the wind blows. I mean, 1 year from now will be the macOS version, which I think will be huge because...
Huge.
I mean, it's...
Huge.
I'm kind of mortified that it's not already there, because it's like iOS is a great platform for music. It has this incredible ecosystem of disgustingly cheap, high quality apps. That's great. But for...
Beautifully cheap.
Yeah, beautifully cheap.
Beautifully cheap.
Yeah. Yeah. It works because of the scale, because of the number of users. But yeah, like for a platform for professional music, it's yeah. I mean, it's not the desktop.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I think for many people it is probably better than the desktop, partly because of the economics, and you know, a lot of people only need so much. But yeah, but for really like the real professional musicians, with some exceptions who are comfortable with working with iOS, and who are okay with sort of accepting the, you know, the vagaries of the stupid camera connection kit and Lightning ports. And I'm so glad that Lightning is of the past.
Yeah,
oh
me
my
too.
God, it made me so angry.
Me too.
Yeah.
Those dongles. The word dongle is gone from my life.
How wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's still USB hubs, but that's a problem for Macs as well. Yeah, yeah. So like it's the future. It has to be on the Mac, because that's where where it would be accessible for more people. And then people don't have to go and buy an iPad. Yeah. So that's next. I really,
that's 1
really
year.
want to. Yeah, that's 1 year. I really want to port it to Windows and Android. I'd quite like to do that.
Ooh.
I'll see. I mean, again, it's like, do I spend time on that, or do I spend time on other things? I don't know.
Is it now starting from scratch to bring it to?
Fortunately, no. So the cool thing about Loopy Pro is that it's almost all my own code. So a lot of apps are based on iOS, for example. They use UIKit, which is a library that developers use to show the UI. So, you know, all of Apple's buttons, and it uses Apple's UI to show it. So any app on iOS that looks like iOS, it has, you know, all the iOS controls and things, it's probably using UIKit. Which doesn't really transfer to other, like, that's made for iOS. And Apple have this thing now, you know, with their chips, you know, you can run iOS apps on the Mac, but it's not great.
No.
It's just, yeah, it looks like an iPad app on a Mac. And so to really make it work nicely on a Mac, you have to basically re-implement your whole UI, which can be quite hard. And people get around it by doing it in Electron and stuff, which is basically making a website and wrapping it in an app.
Okay.
So no, Slack, Discord, all those apps, Todoist, which is my to-do app, that they're all running Electron. So they're just websites, pretty much. That's one way. What I've done, because I need a lot more than that, is I've written my own system from the ground up based on a really low-level graphics thing that's used for 3D graphics. Most it's OpenGL. So
is this something you did for Loopy Pro, or is it all the way back to Loopy HD
just
and
Loopy Pro.
Audiobus?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This is one of those possibly mortifying decisions, because it was, you know, to build a whole detailed UI framework that includes table views that you can scroll, that have controls, like, is a lot. And it's kind of insane that I did it myself. Like, every pixel that you see is rendered using my own code. The text, I'm loading the font and drawing each character to a rectangle. Like, it's insane.
That is insane.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. But I was young and naive, and I thought, I want to make
now
this. Well, the great thing is now
and
I don't have to do anything.
Now.
Yeah, that's right. And that's something that was killing me. Part of the reason I chose to do this is because with Loopy HD, which looks quite custom, every time Apple would change their UI stuff, like when they went to when they went from the iOS 6 skeuomorphic design to iOS 7's flat design, everything broke. It was awful. I would have to because it was all custom components that were hacked upon UIKit to make it look cool and not just like a basic boring app. Yeah, and it will break again. I'm sure with iOS 26 coming shortly, their liquid metal thing, I'm sure that's going to completely break Loopy HD, and I'm going to go back and I'll have to spend a month futzing with it. So I don't have to do that for Loopy Pro. Maybe, I don't know.
Wow.
We'll see. in your parent time, probably.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't have to worry about that with Loopy Pro because it's all my own code. So I don't have to worry about all that. And it was always such a hassle working with Apple's code. Apple, yeah, their quality is sometimes a bit iffy in terms of their frameworks, and there's bugs and you have to work out how to work around the bugs. And I've lost a lot of time doing that, but I don't have to with this code because it's my own code. And yeah.
Mind blowing.
So that's nice. It was crazy how much time I spent doing it, but having done it, it's great. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so
now taking that to other platforms like Windows and
not too hard. And it'll look exactly the same, which is nice. Yeah.
Wow.
So basically I have to take the very bottom layer stuff, like the audio framework and stuff, and find a Windows equivalent. But it's much less work than having to build the whole thing from scratch. So yeah, I'll get there. I don't know how long it will take, but I would like to bring it up for other platforms and just have it everywhere, you know? That'd be great. Yeah. As far as features and things go, I mean, I have, you know, we were talking about the roadmap before. I could work for the rest of my natural life and still probably not scratch the surface.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you just name a few that are like really exciting for you to think about adding, or important for you?
There's some structural stuff that I really want to do. Like, you know, I talked about the multi-core support, because that would mean you'd be able to run a lot more effects, because these devices have, you know, they have, like, say, I don't even know how many cores modern things have, but say you have 4. Like right now, all of the audio processing is happening in one core. You've got the other 3 that are just sitting there scratching its butt, basically, like it's not doing anything.
Yeah.
So with multi-core, it means you'd be able to like run 4 times as much stuff, which is
crazy.
Which would be really cool. I mean, it'd be, I'd love to be able to do that. And it's a decent amount of work, but I think it would pay off. It'd be really cool to have in there. Yeah.
Definitely.
Something that I really want to do with the Mac version, I mean, you know, obviously it makes sense to bring it to the desktop, but like the iOS is such a strong platform for Loopy Pro because of the touch screen. It's just such a great way to interact with it. And, you know, you can do gestures and you can have one button that does 16 things because you can swipe left, swipe right, double tap, long press, you can long swipe. You can, like, it's just such a great platform for that. And with a mouse, you don't get that yet. You know, on the desktop, you really need MIDI controllers. And
you can't swipe up with your mouse?
With your mouse, that's horrible.
Is it?
If you hate yourself, you can do it, but
Never thought of that.
yeah, it's not pretty. Yeah, and it doesn't have
So
that
what?
immediacy, you know. So what I am
Yeah.
planning on doing, probably not for the initial desktop release, but I hope not long after, is to have this thing where you'll be able to pair your iPad with Loopy Pro running on the Mac, either as a VST or running standalone, and then it will basically, your iPad will act as like a second screen for Loopy Pro, and you'll be able to access all the pages in your other installation, and you'll be able to do it with 2 iPads as well. So you could have, if you didn't want to run it on the Mac, you could have 4 iPads all displaying the same project, and then you just have one iPad is the master, and that's what your audio interface is connected to.
So we can all become Beardy Man.
We can all become Beardy Man. That's right. Yeah. And I want to do like,
Woo.
yeah, one of the Beardy Man has these crazy gestures and things. He's got radial menus and all sorts of things. And I want to add all of those to Loopy Pro so that it all just works in there. So that, you know, you'd be able to press a button and then it will go and give you, you know, maybe like 8 things around that you'd be able to select, and just a lot more of those kind of making the most out of the screen real estate things. That's
Right.
that'd be really fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love the idea of being able to have like, and I want to make it magic too. So I mean, I don't know if it would work with the Mac because it's not quite as easy, but with Audiobus, I made this app called, actually, I think it was Gabriel who made the first version. We made this app called Audiobus Remote, where if you have, say you've got your iPad and an iPhone, you literally hold them together and they pair like magic. And then suddenly you get a little remote control on your iPhone.
Wow.
For controlling all the stuff in Audiobus. And developers could implement little controls, you know, like in Loopy Pro, in Loopy HD, it had like a play, stop, a few other things that you could then see on the phone and control them.
So cool.
And it was just like, you just hold them together and just went whoop, and then suddenly they worked. So I want to do that sort of thing and make it just magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun. But I have so many ideas.
Is is the day coming when we're all wearing those goggles and just looping that way?
Some people mentioned, you know, they'd love to have Loopy Pro for the Vision Pro and stuff. And I don't know. I don't see it personally. I just don't feel like
I don't need. I
It's
mean,
not
I can't
tactile.
imagine. I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, I spend a lot of time, like, because I spend all day in VR, and having to interact with virtual elements just kills me. I hate it.
Really?
Oh, it's
Okay.
the worst, because like, you never know, like, is the button there or there? And if your hand wobbles a little bit, like, you might hit the button next to it, and then it's dreadful.
No, that doesn't sound fun.
It sucks. Yeah, so I don't really want to subject anyone to that with Loopy Pro. I just don't think it's a great fit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think having a surface is nice.
It is nice.
Yeah.
And do you have any vision for live looping in 10 years? Anything new?
I don't even know if any of us are going to be here in 10 years. I don't know, really. Yeah,
That's
I mean,
really true.
yeah, I mean, there is that, and I'm not entirely joking. Like, I have no idea. We're living at this time where the world might be unrecognizable in a year. And I just don't know. Which, yeah. It's interesting trying to raise a kid in that environment. Like, what the hell do you teach? The answer is agency.
Wow.
But and generality. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a long-term vision like that. I'm sort of, and I never have. Like, I just talk with people and find like, what do you guys want? I don't know. You tell me.
Right. And for yourself, like as Michael, where do you see yourself in I don't know, a year, 5 years, 10 years?
Hopefully with a bit more free time.
Kind of the same answer? More free time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what do you do in your free time?
I play concertina and read books. And to be honest, I don't really have very much free time. That's partly, you know, before I was a parent, I had these sort of like boom and bust creative cycles where I just worked like a crazy person for 3 months. And then it would leave me, and I would, I don't know, read books, play video games, go for walks. I would just do nothing. I can't do that anymore. I wish I could, because I still go through the same boom and bust cycles, but I've got this much of me which I can actually devote to my professional life now. And I'm a parent the rest of the time. So any spare time I have, I feel this compulsion that I need to be working on Loopy Pro. So I don't really take much time. I do take Saturday mornings where I have this great session. There are 5 of us. We go play at a cafe. We play Irish music. We've got a banjo, a fiddle, a flute, a baron, a harp, and a concertina. That's 6. We're not always there. Our harp is very rarely present. But yeah, we go play music, we play tunes, and that's lovely. But that's kind of all I really do. I've loved the last few days, you know, since the launch, and things have gone so smoothly. I've spent time just hanging out, reading a book, which has been the most delightful thing because I haven't done anything like that for so long. But most of the time I'm working. Yeah. Fortunately,
well,
most
thank
of
you.
the time
I
it's
appreciate
play.
all your work.
Oh, it's fun most of the time. Isn't always with the QA stuff. It can be a drudge, but I think, I mean, this started out as a hobby and I did it because I love it, and that's still completely true. Yeah, it's I would be doing it even if I wasn't getting anything from it, any financially, you know. Well, assuming I would be, you know, we could eat. Fortunately, I mean, there was this whole philosophy when we were living in the motorhome, where we're like thinking about what it is to have a good life. And I never wanted to get a job because it was like that. We're only here for so long, right? And to spend so much of that. I mean, a lot of people like their jobs, which is great, I suppose, but I don't think I would, working on someone else's baby and just doing one little part. I just don't think I would enjoy it. And which is funny because the whole reason I did a PhD was because I thought, I want to get to be able to work in the really interesting jobs at Apple or Google or Facebook, and I've had job offers from all of them, and I was like, no, go away.
Wow.
It's funny. Once the reality, I was faced with the reality, it was like, oh no. So, you work and you get money to compensate you for the time that you can't spend on other things. And I would rather live a really frugal life and be able to spend my time doing something meaningful than just do a job that I don't care about and I don't know, some immense sum. It's been funny because it just doesn't make sense to me. And so that was always the philosophy. But I'm in this amazing place where, I mean, again, what Loopy brings in isn't enough to be able to do some things like have a team, but it's enough that I feel like I can have my cake and eat it too, which is, I am unbelievably blessed. I mean, every day I'm like, how? I don't deserve this.
Wow.
It's unbelievable. And
you do.
Well, I mean, it's just right place, right time for a lot of it. It's the luck of the draw. And fortunately, I've been astoundingly fortunate that I'm able to do this thing that I love, and we get to live in a nice place and not have to worry so much about getting by. And it's almost a little bit like survivor's guilt. It's like, I don't really feel like I've done anything particular to earn it, but I'm grateful for it. Yeah. It's
that's interesting to hear. Because you're giving so much. Like, there are so many people on this earth that you have given.
Oh, that's so nice.
Huge gift to.
It's a gift that gives to me too. So yeah.
Perfect.
It definitely feels like, like I'm doing what I'm supposed to. It's
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah, in my element. I wish that for everyone.
And I feel like so I guess we didn't mention, but I'm working with you now on social media stuff, and I've known you we've been in touch ever since I started using Loopy Pro. Like, I've had your email address and reporting about this or that bug, which is never really a bug. It's just something I misunderstood.
Oh, no, it's almost always a bug.
No, that's not true. Sometimes it's a bug.
Yeah.
But now, and I'm so happy about getting to do this interview, and I feel like it's making Loopy Pro make even more sense to me, as kind of a reflection of you, like this thing you created. giving other people agency. And I feel like it makes more sense because you didn't make, you made something that each person can now make.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is that's the gift I feel like I got. You know, I didn't just buy a loop station and now I bought this app that anything that is here can now come to life.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's the plan.
So thank you. I have a few more questions I wrote down from other people. My favorite was this. Michael, you've just finished a 4-day push of bug squashing. What's the perfect meal sitting waiting for you that will rejuvenate you?
I think it might be Mexican. Oh, there's this place nearby.
Like,
we live in this, like, it's a little village in the middle of the forest. Like, it is the last place you would expect to find fine dining, but something about, I don't know what it is. We are so blessed here because we have, like, within 10 minutes, I could get incredible Thai, amazing Vietnamese, great Indian, just the most incredible handmade wood-fired pizzas you can imagine. And there's this great Mexican place that does incredible, like, margaritas and things, and their food is so good. And yeah, it's something that it doesn't travel. You have to go to them, which means, you know, we have to get Granny to come and do a bedtime. But fortunately, Granny lives 10 minutes away and is an absolute champion. Another way that we're completely blessed. She's great. Yeah. Love our Granny. And yeah. So we get to go out every now and then and have, like, they have these amazing, like loaded fries with cool stuff. They have amazing tacos and they have these nachos things that are just, oh man, I want it now. Screw this interview. I'm going to go and eat that. Yeah. That's
what, okay. Well, someone asked, what's your personal workflow with your own app? And I don't know. So you've,
fixing the bugs.
Now we know.
Yeah.
Now we know.
Actually, you know, the only times I really get to pretend to be a user are when I'm making these little promo video things. So when I made the Loopy 2 promos, particularly the one, the electronic one with the riser and the drop, that was so much fun to make. That was great. That was the day after I'd done the interview with Christoph. And I just had my mind blown by what he was doing. And I got to like go and put it into action. You know, he talked about how he does these cool risers and then the drop yeah, I got to go and play with it. And it was really cool. It was fun getting to, you know, make a template and then figure out a nice riff and play with effects. And not that I had many effects. In fact, I think I've got like 3 effect apps installed.
Really?
Yeah, well, I kind of installed them for testing because, you know, again, I don't use this myself very much. So yeah, but I bought Black Hole because
I love Black Hole.
It's so beautiful sounding. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's amazing. That's something else I want to do. I mean, it feels silly to spend any time working on effects, but I've got this really great, something else that I spent way too much time on is the echo removal. So I used to get so many emails from customers using Loopy HD saying, whenever I record my loops, all I can hear is the other loops playing. And it's because they're not using headphones or a decent microphone. They're just like, it's just the device. And they don't, I mean, fair enough. If you're not a software engineer with knowledge of DSP, it probably doesn't come naturally. But of course, the microphone is going to hear what's playing out the speaker, right? Because it's right next to it. So
yeah,
I spent, I'm not going to tell you how long, but it was really embarrassing, working on this echo removal thing, which was
6 to 12 months, probably.
I think it was at least 3. Oh no, I said it. Yeah, this is, again, before I was a parent and I thought that time was this infinite resource. It's not. Yeah. And as part of it, it's really cool, by the way. I love DSP. So what it does is it does this whoop, 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 whoop sound, which is playing through all the different frequencies, and it records the result, and it does this mathematical transform on it, which turns it into an impulse response. You know, like a lot of reverb plugins, they use an impulse response. So basically that's a sound of an echo. So it's like a recording of a click, and then you get all of the ambience.
Wow.
You do this thing called the convolution, where you take that impulse response, which is just audio, and you multiply it by the audio you want to apply it to, and you get that nice reverb sound of whatever it is coming out. And it's the audio equivalent of like, I can't use my torch on my phone because it's here, but like imagine I'm shining a torch at my hand, and then you see on the wall behind, you see the shadow. It's like the audio equivalent of that. So the hand is the audio signal, and then the torch is the... No, I've lost the thread. It's in there somewhere.
I'm with you. I'm following.
I've been up for way too long and I've been parenting today, so my brain's a little bit frazzled.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's some... it's fine. No. Look it up. It's kind of cool. Convolution is awesome. So as part of it, so basically what I do is I generate that impulse response, and then I apply it to the audio that's coming in the microphone, and that models I apply it to the audio that's playing out the speaker that I'm playing out. And then I subtract that from what comes in the microphone, because I'm able to model exactly the signal path from the speaker to the microphone. And then I subtract it out, and you pull out whatever's coming out. And it's not perfect. You can still hear the input, but it's so much quieter, and it works really well.
Wow.
And so as part of that process, I made this really cool convolution effect multiplier thing. So it's just sitting there. It's already in there. It's really efficient. So all I need to do is put a UI on it and have the ability to import your own impulse responses. Then you'll have like this great impulse, like you could do anything. You can use it for guitar modeling, because a lot of guitar simulation amps, all they are is an impulse response. The same as reverb apps, just slightly different, but it's the same kind of algorithm. So you can actually, like if I wanted to go all the way, I could have it so you could actually have it, you could go into a cathedral and have the phone go whoop, 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 and it would capture the cathedral just with your phone, and then you could use that to apply. Or you could run it through your guitar amp and record that, and it would record all of the nuances of what happened through your... Yeah, I'd love to do that.
Yes,
I digress.
Please.
But
please,
yeah, DSP is really cool. I'd love to put that in.
So that's definitely one of the things I see in, I don't know, in 5 years or less for Loopy Pro is like built-in, more and more built-in stuff. I mean, using outside effects is amazing. That's what's so amazing. But because you have the seed there, there's EQs and the reverb, like it's there. Like, give us more.
And a delay, like a proper delay with all the things like ping pong and a reverse. And I'd love to. And also it's really fun to make those. It's just, I've always wanted to. But again, if I have 2 days, I could do this self-indulgent making effects, which are duplicated in, 100 really high quality free audio units that you can just download. Or I could make something that only Loopy Pro can do.
Right.
So,
Fair enough.
Yeah. Time, sadly, isn't infinite. I wish it was.
Yeah.
But maybe I will do some of those things.
I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
Just depends
with GPT,
on
that's the other thing. With GPT, it's so much easier now because I can follow whims and not have to invest all that time writing the code myself. So I would expect lots more of that kind of stuff to come, because the next iteration of GPT, I think, will be quite a big significant upgrade, and I'll be able to let it do its thing without having to babysit through all of the crazy mistakes it makes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm optimistic.
What can you talk about, I don't know, 1 or 2 examples of someone using Loopy Pro in ways you didn't, that like really surprised you or you didn't even see coming, if that ever happened?
I mean, the interview with Christoph is, I feel like, the epitome of that, because the stuff that he was doing. Okay, so, I mean, I'm not sure if this will be out before that. No, it won't. The interview will be out probably by the time, for sure.
The Christoph interview is out. You should watch it.
Watch it. It's amazing. Oh, man. It was just, my brain was exploding the whole time. One of the cool things he does, so he used to travel with this, you've probably all seen this now, but I'm going to tell it again. He used to travel with the Chaos Pad, which you're like, but it's bulky and it's, he made the Chaos Pad in Loopy Pro. he just figured out how to do it. You know, he has a loop that just plays white noise, and when you touch down on the XY pad, it starts, and when you let go, it stops, and then he just has an effect chain that goes on it. And it's just like, he made a chaos pad in. And then there's this guy, Tim, who's one of the beta testers. We've posted so many of his beautiful creations.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
I just, yeah, his brain is a remarkable thing. He made it, he made a step sequencer in Loopy Pro just based on the stuff. Yeah. Every time he comes up with something new, I stare at the screen for 10 minutes at a time, just a little drool coming out. You did what? Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Those are wild. But yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of Loopy Pro. Like, people can make it their own. And so I see things that I don't recognize. That, yeah. It's
wow.
It's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Being able to kind of, it's like a meta app, you know?
Right. Oh, how did Loopy HD end up in the Tonight Show?
Just luck.
Just
no,
luck?
It's a funny story. So, I know this because the engineer responsible, we had a big phone call about it after it happened, and so Jimmy had said, I wanna do this performance where it's sort of looped, and they tried a bunch of things. They tried the RC 505. They tried a bunch of other things, and none of it really worked. It wasn't. I don't know why, but it just wasn't clicking. And John, the engineer, had been a Loopy HD user for years.
Ooh,
he's like,
okay.
Look, I've got this app, let's try it. And apparently it just worked perfectly for them. It fit the bill. And so it was right place, right time. And then, and the way that they filmed it, they like, Jimmy described what was happening. There was a camera on the display, so you could actually it was made to be a promo. It was insane. Yeah.
And you had nothing to do with it. Like, it just happened.
I found out when someone on Twitter said, you should check out the Tonight Show. This is, I'm pretty sure that's your app.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And was that a significant moment in your career?
Huge. I mean, yeah. I mean, it was huge financially. You know, it was, yeah. I mean, when I think, because not only was it on the Tonight Show, the clip itself went viral as well. So it was like a double whammy. And it was so surreal. Wow. It was, it got picked up in the Australian media, and one of the big morning shows flew me up to Sydney to appear on the show. And then two Australian celebrities, I taught them how to use it, and they used it beside me, and it was just so weird. Yeah.
Okay, that's huge.
That was wild. Yeah. And then there are, Sony flew me up. They wanted me to go and present it at a conference, which I did with another Australian celebrity who I sang with and on stage as part of the
Michael, do you sing? And you did you forget to mention that you sing?
Oh yeah, I sing. Yeah, I mean, not professionally. Although in that case, it kind of was. Yeah. It was,
Wow.
It was very surreal. I mean, it was huge financially. It didn't change the direction of anything. I was already doing what I love to do. And yeah.
Right.
I don't quite remember what the timing was relative to the development of Loopy Pro. Yeah, I can't remember what year it was. But I suspect that I probably started and,
I admit I haven't watched it. I just have heard of this moment.
I'm not even sure it's watchable anymore.
But I'm going to go check.
They might have taken it down. I don't know. But yeah, it's, I was already doing what I love doing. So it was just I'm just going to do more of that. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Kind
Amazing.
of blessed that way. Yeah.
Yeah. Are there any other apps, AUV3s that you're especially excited about? I guess you just mentioned Black Hole.
Yeah. Yeah. I really love all of Fred's apps, the FAC series. I mean, again.
Do you know him?
Yeah. I mean, only through we're part of the same community of apps, and I tend to know I know most developers because of Audiobus. So When Audiobus came out, it was adopted by everybody. And yeah, I know everybody now through it. It's great. It's really cool because I know all these cool developers. So, yeah. But, I mean, there are so many really great ones. And you know, I don't actually use them, I'm ashamed to say. I would love to be part of the user community. I love the user community. But for whatever reason, if I have time, I'm building the tools. I'm not using the tools.
Right.
Yeah, it's just kind of who I am.
Or playing concertina.
Or playing the concertina, yeah. So, yeah, which is kind of as far from iOS music as you can get, probably, as far as music goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, whenever I see new apps coming from Fred, I'm always like, oh, that looks so pretty. They're just so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I have quite a few, and
yep, they're nice.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, I could probably rattle off more, but yeah. But it's largely based on kind of secondhand impressions a lot of the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sure that in like 10 minutes I'll remember other questions, but then I'll call you back if you'll be up.
We'll keep going.
It's almost 10 p.m.
Wow. That's definitely my bedtime.
Yeah.
It's funny being a parent. Like, we used to be night owls in the days where I was, you know, pre-parent, especially when we were living in the motorhome. We would work, because both of us were night owls, we would work until 3, 4 a.m.
Wow.
And wake up at, you know, like 11, 12. And it was just the quiet of the world. It was so conducive to, Yeah,
I relate.
But
I go to sleep at like 10:30.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. And I have to, because I've got a kid now, and which is kind of funny because he's so independent in the mornings. He's in the morning? He's so independent in the mornings. He'll get up and he'll grab, for better or worse, the iPhone and start watching YouTube videos. Don't even get me started on screen time. It's a constant, source of concern and sometimes comfort and who knows what. But yeah, we kind of stagger out of bed at sometimes 8:30, and it's fine. So I could, in theory, keep on working till late, but I don't know what it is. I need so much sleep these days. I think it's partly, you know, there's a lot of, it's a big kind of there's a lot of emotional work to be done being a parent.
Right.
Especially with autism. And I think maybe that's why I need to sleep. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you. I don't have kids, but I have a dog, and so I can't. She'll wake me up.
Yeah. Oh,
she needs a walk.
Yeah, it can be analogous a lot of the time. Yep. I've got some friends who have a dog, and the conversations that we would have, it was like we were commiserating over the same things.
It's so different, though. I mean, it's the same in that I can't sleep in. And I'm not free to just do whatever I want.
That's true.
You know, I can't just peace out for a week without thinking about it. But
yeah. Yep.
It's very different.
It is.
Maybe last thing I'm curious about is if you want to share, like, what has been the biggest challenge in all this, in this journey? Whether it's a technical challenge, like, is there something you haven't been able to figure out how to do yet? Or some other kind of challenge?
Well, I mean, by at least 2 or 3 orders of magnitude, the biggest challenge has being a parent and getting on top of the autism and the PDA stuff. That's a source of personal growth that doesn't even compare to everything that came before. It's huge. And it's also a challenge professionally because I'm living in this bottleneck of my ability to do stuff now, because it's just, my time is so slim and my energy is often so slim. So that's the big one. Everything else pales in comparison, to be honest. Professionally, I guess at least in recent times, the biggest challenge is just staying on top of the scope of this thing, because I've never done anything like it It's just so immense. The fact that it can be used in so many different ways, that just the surface area of the app is basically infinite, which is fairly unusual for something of this size. And it means that to stay on top of bugs and to keep everything together, it is this constant game of juggling 10,000 plates. And it's really hard. I mean, I have this massive suite of unit tests, which are these things as automatic tests. So whenever I finish something, automatically it runs and it tests all these things. You know, for example, I've got a big suite of tests that will run Loopy Pro. It'll record a loop and then it will play it back a few times. And then it will go through every tiny bit of the audio and make sure that what comes out is what was recorded.
Wow.
Heaps of tests like that test across all the different kinds of things. Like, it's massive. And yet I will still upload a build. It'll pass everything and I'll have, 5 bug reports the next morning. And I'll fix those 5. Okay, everything's good. Everything's working. There's no outstanding. I'll upload the build, wake up in the morning. That will be 10. Yeah. I don't know.
Crazy.
I mean, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm doing something wrong I am in fact
No, I
a
think it
complete
is.
hack, but it's hard.
Clearly you're not, but I mean, that's what's so mind-blowing about Loopy Pro is how deep it is. I mean, there's basically no bottom.
Yeah.
So I can imagine you can't even think and that's what's so cool about being a user. Like, I might be doing something that no one else is doing. And so you as a tester maybe didn't think of doing. So it makes sense that.
That's right. That is actually the largest source of bug reports because, something will work as expected. It'll be fine. But then someone will use it in some new way. And I'll be like, oh, I hadn't thought of that. And then I fix it for their use case. And then someone else, it's broken their use case because they were using it in some way I never thought of. And
so cool though.
It's insane. It's really cool, but it's so much work to stay on top of when any change I make to
Right. So is it something that's just getting harder and harder and bigger and bigger?
I would love to say no, but I mean, everything that I add, it's more technical debt. I mean, I think the architecture of it is such, like with the action system, I'm really happy with that because it means that I can add new functionality and it doesn't clutter up the interface. I can add the ability to offset a clip by some amount and you don't get a new button on the screen. It's not, it doesn't clutter anything. It's there if you need it. So that's great. But the underlying technology is still, there's this new thing that I now need to maintain. So that's technical debt, and that accumulates with any app. Anything that you add, you need to make sure it keeps working in the future. So that surface area just grows and grows and grows, and that's just the way that it is. So it won't get any easier.
When you first started answering, I thought you meant there's more and more and more users. The community is bigger and bigger. More people are, have to keep track of more, questions, requests. But
that is true as well.
I guess it's both.
Yeah, it is both. Yeah. Fortunately, I mean, when I started this, it was all me, and answering the questions was. I mean, Edward was actually. I mean, that's not true. Edward has been there from the start, even before he was doing this. Before he was, on the payroll, so to speak. He's amazing, but. Having that agreement formalized sounds like, we're kind of locked together, but knowing I can rely on Edward, it's taken so much weight off my shoulders. And he's so valuable. He's the best.
Yeah.
Because it means that, I'm working with a net now, which I wasn't before. I think.
You mean like a safety net?
A safety net, yeah. It feels like that. Like I can upload a build and, he's got the kind of methodological approach. Is that a word? Methodological? maybe. Rigorous. He's got the kind of rigorous approach.
Methodical.
Methodical, that sounds good. It's going to add some more syllables just for fun. Approach where he will go through all the changes that I've made and he will check. It's not just that he uses it on his own, in his own way, and if he comes sees a problem, he'll report it. He goes through and he notes what's new and just checks it to see if it does what it should. That's amazing. To have that as an indie developer. It's like I've got Edward plus the beta testers, some of whom have been with me from the start. That's
wow.
Yeah, I feel
That's
supported
amazing.
by this team. And they should all be on the payroll. I don't have a payroll, but they should all be on it. At least some of them are. Yeah. That's really helpful. Yeah.
Is most of your user community just people at home making music? Or would you say, like, what percentage are people getting on stages with it?
That's a really good question.
And what percentage?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should make a poll.
We should make a poll. Yeah. This is one of the things, I haven't mentioned yet the other person who I'm incredibly grateful to be working with. It's you, because you're able to bring, I feel like you are quite like Edward in the high agency and high, there's a word that I'm looking for, but it's gone. I'm going to say diligence. Like you're able to just take ideas and run with them. And I feel really supported by that all these things that I was just dropping the ball left, right, and center. I feel like those balls are being caught now, and I'm able to kind of rest easy knowing that I'm not screwing all of this up because you're there to help. And
Yeah.
And so being able to do things like
I'm helping you with. I offered to help you with social media, and I'm very happy you said yes. But I'm discovering. Like, I kind of feel like I'm holding an assistant, but I'm discovering you're also an amazing editor and creative and musician. And I'm
Well,
just like,
I'll
oh
try.
yeah, do that. Oh my God, amazing. Yes, do that. Yes. Go, Michael. Like I'm
That's
doing
nuts.
some technical things, but it's fun. I get to discover all these other sides of you. Like you're not
that's
just
cool.
a geeky developer. You have all these artistic sides and so you came
very
up with
nice.
this brilliant idea of doing an artist spotlight series where you interview
Was that my idea?
musicians. Yeah, it was your idea completely.
okay.
And then soon after that, maybe it was after you soon after that I was like, oh my God, I want to interview you. And so
Here we
that's
are.
how this came about. It's fun to realize just how creative you are.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind.
Yeah.
I do feel like a hack a
it's
lot of
fun.
the time, I have to say. I feel like I'm faking
You're
it
not.
a lot of the time.
Nope.
But
We all feel like that.
that's true, yeah.
And
I
it's
think that's
not
part of
true
being
about
human.
anyone.
No.
But I'm so excited that I got on this boat and or this wagon.
Previous.
And it's going to go so far. Like it will take over the world in some way, in a positive way.
I'm starting to feel
And I
like
just
that
can't
too.
wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like this year, it's starting to be like, actually something that like has a head of steam behind it. And
Yeah.
I'm coming for you, Roland.
Yep. Oh, I don't even see them anymore. No, but I think once it's on computers, I mean, once it's on Mac, but then if you get it on all platforms, like it's just
That'll be really good.
Yeah.
It's been, it's amazing because it's this thing that, I mean, my life, it's very hermit-like. Like we live on this mountain, which I very rarely leave. And I work in this little cabin in the middle of this sort of woodland garden. And when I'm awake, most of the world is asleep. And so it's very strange to know that all of this stuff is happening because like my day-to-day life on the ground, like I'm just pottering around and just working on this code base. And it's, something funny about starting the Artist Spotlight series, like, I get this sort of bird's eye view for the first time in a long time. and seeing what people actually do with this thing. And I'd forgotten,
Right.
I'd forgotten that it was this thing that people use a lot of the time. When you're stuck in the weeds dealing with, this click happens when you do that. Yeah, that was my life for so long. So it's very surreal and delightful.
It's my motivation with helping you with social media is visibility. Like so many people use Loopy Pro. Like I want to see it. I want to see it.
Yeah. I've neglected
I am
that
curious
so
how
terribly.
many. Yeah. I would be curious. Let's make a poll to see who's taking it on stage and who's just enjoying it as a hobby at home. And
that would be really, really fun to know. Yeah. I do so little, data collection. I do none, basically. Like I have sales data,
right.
which is very limited in its own right. And so,
So what countries, I asked you this, but I want it on video. What countries is Loopy Pro most popular in?
Well, I think the main market is probably the US. It's pretty big in Europe. Probably Germany is responsible for a lot of that.
Okay.
Yeah. UK, fair bit. I think probably, I suspect Brazil is going to get quite big now that it's translated, because 2.0 is now translated to 17 different languages. Hopefully not terribly, because here's my confession of a guilt, because I have used translation services in the past, paid ones, and not had a great experience, even though they came highly recommended. So this time I made my own interface to GPT. So the translation is from GPT with a bit of input from the testers. But yeah, it turns out that's what translators do these days. They use machine translation. They just kind of cast an eye over it. So
then they edit it.
I basically just did that myself. So it'll be interesting to find out over time just how appalling it is.
Yeah, have you gotten any feedback?
Yeah, it's been mostly good. Yeah, apparently the main issue is that for people who are bilingual, who already speak, or trilingual, who already speak English, they want it back to English. They don't want it in their own language because they're used to all the terminology. Because, that's the thing,
right.
Loopy Pro has all this terminology, count out, retro record, which you translate it to another language and suddenly it's sort of adrift. It's not in the manual because the manual isn't yet translated, and all the YouTube tutorials of things are all in English. And that's the hardest part. But I think probably for the people who don't yet speak English very much, I think it'll be really good. And I've had lots of feedback from them that they really like it.
But so for those people who do want it back to English, is that easy to just bring back to English?
It's just in the system settings app. Yeah, you just go into the settings app, you find the apps section in there, you go into Loopy Pro, and then it's got preferred language, and you can set it to anything you like. Yeah. So, it's not that visible, but yeah, it's there. I might have to have like an autoresponder thing, because I've had a few people ask. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen those questions too.
Yeah. I'm hopeful that, I'll be able to now make inroads into places like China and Japan a bit more. It's big-ish in Japan, but yeah, I feel like it's such a barrier having it just be in English that I think I'm optimistic.
Me too. Michael, thank you for everything. And I'm speaking in the name of so many other people that I know feel the same.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for all of your work and for creating this perfect tool.
It's my great pleasure. And thank you, and all of you, for your energy, because that is why it works. It's, I can't do this on my own. Partly because I don't know anything about the domain. So
yeah, as we found out today, Michael is not a live looper.
Yeah, it's the community. The community is why Loop is good, I reckon.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
Yeah, thank you for this interview.
I feel weird just talking about myself for hours. It feels a bit like, why is the focus on me? But it's fun to reflect.
I think we could go on. It's fun. It's interesting too. Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's good. Thank you.
Okay, cut.
Cut.